on Broadcasting Sports.
A slow whirler, going to be a tough play. Hunsley, bare hands on the bounce, a throw. He got him. What a play from Grayson Hunsley on the bare hand.
It's time for Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Post 8 Baseball is brought to you by Comtech, True Green Chemelon, Edward Jones Financial, Overhead Door, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, Jaeger, AGE, First Fidelity, and State Farm Becky Potsuba Agency.
This will be flown out by Charlie Simpson out to left field. Going back, it is gone! Charlie Simpson hits a two-run home run, and it's a 3-2 ball game.
Post 8 Baseball is also brought to you by Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Missouri River Dentistry, Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping, Agtegra, Farting Electric, Envirotech, and Kruger Climate Systems.
Here's a line shot out and towards left center field, diving and making the catch out in center is Sun and Shine. And a tip of the cap from the head coach.
Post 8 Baseball is also brought to you by Stalkin Peterson LLP, Wagner Auto, the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection, Gales Gas, First United Methodist Church, Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction, Beck Motors, and May Adam.
Gets with a fly ball to left field. That one is going back to the wall. It's out of here. A 3-run homer for Dawson Getz. And it's a 4-0 lead for the Eights.
And by American Family Insurance Brittany Schaffelbein Agency, Lamb Motors, Bank West, CHS River Plains, Faith Lutheran Church, Graham Tire, Kathy's Sunshine Properties, Venture Communications, and the American of Fort Pierre. And now, Post 8 Baseball on KCCR.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another special edition of Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We are live in the middle of a cornfield tonight as Post 8 hits the road once again with one of the biggest tests of the season on its way. Tonight, Pierre looks for revenge and recognition as they face off against the prestigious defending Legion Baseball state champions, the Renner Royals. Dylan Simmons on the call with you, and welcome to the Renner baseball field, where although the area may be somewhat isolated, the baseball is known far and wide in the state of South Dakota. It was just last year, after all, that Renner took home the ultimate prize in Legion baseball with a dominant 32-14 state championship season. Post 8 understands that with that kind of history and what it brings to the table, this evening they want to show that they are just as capable of making that title magic happen. Post 8 has been one of the hottest teams in the state recently, with wins in 4 of their last 5 and 7 of their last 10 games. They have been led by a ferocious pitching attack and a strong batting core that is making life hard on anyone that has to go up against them. It's their best start under head coach River Iverson, who is looking for this team to use today as a chance to reach into that next gear. The Renner Royals, on the other hand, have not had quite the start they had a year ago, but that's not to say they've been bad either. They had a 15-3 start last year, an 8-10 start to this season. Kind of pales in comparison, but it's a team in transition, with a lot of their key pieces from a year ago no longer a part of the team. That does not mean, however, that they can't recapture their old form throughout the rest of the season. A 6-3 start in South Dakota play can attest that this team still means business and will be a hard out for anyone they go up against. Last year, it was Renner who dominated in Hyde Stadium in 2 run rule wins. What story will be shaped tonight? One of redemption or of a replay? We will find that out soon enough. Welcome inside the broadcast booth once again. Dylan Simmons with you tonight, joined by a lot of Post 8 and Renner fans here at the Renner baseball field. The sun, thankfully, is cooperating right now. It's kind of staying to the west of the ballpark at the moment, so we'll hopefully not have that interfere with the tablet. But as you can hear right now on YouTube or either listening in on the radio, you can tell that the wind is really ripping right now here in Renner. Gust in the mid-20s at the moment, so we'll see how much of an impact that has on the game itself. But the teams are beginning to take the field, and soon enough we will have opening ceremonies in this doubleheader. Post 8 entering with a record of 7-6, Renner 8-10 overall. And again, Post 8 coming off a doubleheader split against Dickinson last Friday, a sweep against Spearfish in a doubleheader on Thursday, their lone doubleheader sweep of the season thus far, and they're hoping that momentum will catapult them to 2 big wins today on the road in Renner country. We're going to take a quick 2-minute timeout. When we come back, we'll have opening lineups and starting lineups right here from the Renner baseball field. This is baseball, Post 8 baseball to be specific, on KCCR. Back in 2. Want technology solutions you can trust from a neighbor you know? Comtech, locally owned and serving Pierre and surrounding area since 2009, is dedicated to keeping your home, farm, and business connected and secure. We offer a full range of services, from audio and video, security, surveillance, and networking, with expert installation and support. Visit our storefront, call us at 605-224-4066, or visit our website, comtechplus.com, to experience the Comtech difference. Comtech, your local technology experts.
Hey, yo, Speedo's Lawn Care.
Hello. Say, my yard's in rough shape. It's got weeds, brown spots, and crabgrass.
No problemo. What shade of green you need? We got 31 shades of green over here. Even the latest shade of septic tank grass green. That one just naturally gives off a glow.
Call the professionals at True Green. They know how to get your lawn healthy and keep it healthy. They guarantee it. All technicians are trained and certified.
Call True Green, 224-1916.
When you're looking for quality trash pickup services, look no further than Envirotech. 6 days a week, their trucks are on the road picking up trash, even holidays. They're also the place to contact for recycling services. Their friendly, professional staff is ready to assist with weekly pickups or even special pickups. Check out the website at envirotechwaste.com. Envirotech is locally operated. Call 224-4804. Envirotech Waste Services in Pierre. Proud to support high school athletics.
When life throws you a curveball, May Adam Law Firm in Pierre is here to help you knock it out of the park. For over 130 years, we've been providing trusted legal expertise in business, family law, criminal defense, and more. Proud sponsors of this season's baseball action, we're committed to serving our community both on and off the field. Need legal advice? Step up to the plate with May Adam Law Firm. Visit mayadam.net or call today. May Adam, South Dakota's law firm since 1881. Welcome back. This is Post 8 Baseball on KCCR. Dylan Simmons with you live from the Renner baseball field. As always, our scoreboard is courtesy of the American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebind Agency. Thank you, Brittany and American Family Insurance, for sponsoring our scoreboard each and every game. Post 8 and Renner about to do battle from the Renner baseball field. We'll go over the starting lineups real quick. We will start with the defensive side for Renner. The pitcher tonight is going to be Arbogast, who is going to take his place on the mound. The number 12 man on the jersey had a .263 average for O'Gorman this past year, but he was also maybe the top pitcher for O'Gorman with 46 2/3 innings pitched on the season, a 5-2 record, 47 strikeouts, and 22 earned runs. And if you are familiar with Renner, then you know that O'Gorman is a team that they are definitely related to, because a lot of these players have come from O'Gorman, and Rylan Arbogast is certainly among those, but he's not going to be the only one, obviously, on the defensive side to keep an eye on. Joe Neufeld will be at first base, Jackson Bjorkman at second base, Brody Jacobson is the shortstop, Brogan Moffitt is the third baseman, Sam Donahoe is the catcher, Zach Sprinkle in right field, Jack Stukel in center field, and Owen Lechtenberg will be in left field. We'll go over Pierre's defensive lineup in the bottom half of the first inning. But now it's time to play baseball from the Renner baseball field. This should be a fun one, folks. Let's settle back and enjoy it. Grab your popcorn or whatever else you want to use today. Here we go. Pierre and Renner, game number 1 of today's sensational doubleheader. We're underway. And this pitch will come in for a strike, and Arbogast off to a good start. Count goes to 0-1. This is Carter Schuffelbein, who takes his place at the plate for Pierre. Obviously one of the top batters all season, looking to once again recapture this form that weekend. And here's a drive into left field. It's going to land near the base of the wall. Schuffelbein wasting no time. He wants second base, and he's got a stand-up double to get things going here in the top half of the first inning. Talk about making an instant impact. The second baseman does exactly that. And Post State has a runner in scoring position already. Only took a couple of pitches for Carter Schuffelbein, a man with a .314 average on the season, to immediately take advantage. Had 2 hits and 2 runs versus Spearfish on Thursday, and he has not let that pace up. Now we've got Sutton Sunshine at the plate, and he's another player who just continues to improve as the season moves forward. He was a little bit quiet towards the end of the year for the Pierre Governors baseball team, but he has improved tremendously towards the start of the Post-State baseball season and is certainly going to be somebody to watch. And here's a drive into left field. A ground ball finds its mark. He's going to get on first base, Schuffelbein to third, and just like that, Post-State has runners in the corners. And right now, the Pierre bats are humming along. So runners in the corners just like that for Post-State as the wind kicks up here in Renner. And right now, Rylan Arbogast having some difficulty with these Pierre bats. That'll send on Dawson Getz, the shortstop. Did not play this past weekend for Post-State, but he's back in the lineup today. And rest assured, he's been arguably the most dangerous batter of the season thus far for Post-State. If you're watching on YouTube, keep an eye on Sutton Sunshine over there at first base. He is definitely flirting with attempting to steal the second base bag. We'll see if he'll be able to do so, or if it's even necessary. Schuffelbein 90 feet away from home plate. There's a swing and a miss for Getz. And just like that, the count's going to be 0-2 for Dawson Getz. And again, this wind, which is blowing in from the west, is certainly going to make an impact, it appears. Look for a lot of balls to head to left field if they catch air. And that's a strikeout on Dawson Getz. Wow. So a big K managed by Rylan Arbogast, his first of the game, and he gets it on arguably the best batter for Post-State thus far this season. So Getz is struck out looking. That'll send on Charlie Simpson, and maybe that's exactly what Rylan Arbogast needs to kind of get his feet underneath him. Charlie Simpson, the catcher, to the plate. Post-State all white jerseys today with, it looks like, green stripes running vertically down the uniform and pants. For Renner, it's all white with blue numbers and, of course, the blue logo. Kind of looks like the Rice Owls logo for those who are familiar. And here goes Sutton Sunshine. He wants second, and he's going to get it as the shortstop, Brody Jacobson, could not quite haul it in. The throw a little bit short from Sam Donahoe. And Post-State with now 2 runners in scoring position. By the way, that pitch that came in was indeed a strike, so the count goes to 0-1. But now Post-State really set up for Charlie Simpson if he can make advantage or either take advantage of this opportunity. He clangs that one off of his bat. It's fouled, and the count's going to be 0-2. And right now for Arbogast, the biggest thing that he's got to keep himself from doing is overreacting to the situation and understanding that there is still plenty of opportunities to deal with this without giving up a run. That pitch comes in a little bit high, kind of sailed on Arbogast. Count goes to 1-2. Post-State with a team batting average of .310 thus far on the season, .427 on-base percentage, and an .845 OPS. And those numbers have steadily increased in this middle part of the year. Here's Simpson with a high chopper on the right side, throws to home plate, and it's a wide. And scoring for Post-State will be Carter Schuffelbein, and Pierre is on the board first. The throw from Joe Neufeld was a little bit off to Sam Donahoe. Post-State capitalizes, and they're on the board first, on top 1-0 with runners at first and third. So Simpson will reach first base on a fielder's choice. Meanwhile, Cooper Terwilliger makes his way to the plate, and scoring on an error is Carter Schuffelbein. So Post-State on top, 1-0, still just 1 out here in the top of the first. And Terwilliger, he's another guy that you don't want to look at in an unwise way. 333 average on the season, 5 RBIs, 5 runs on the year, 9 hits. Lets this pitch come by. It's in for a strike. And compared to last year when Post State got mollywopped in their home ballpark against Renner, this has been a much better start overall. Already on top 1-0, runners in the corners here, and still just 1 out against Sam Arbogast and company. Or Rylan Arbogast and company. That pitch comes in a little high, and the count moves to 1 ball, 1 strike. And there's that wind once again, which has certainly affected the trajectory of these baseballs thus far. This has popped up along the right side. Neufeld chasing after it, and it is over the fence and out of play. So the count moves to 1-2. Of course, this is just the first of our 2 games here this afternoon, rolling into this evening. We don't expect the sun to set by the time game 2's over, but you never know with some of the craziness we've seen in Legion baseball thus far this year. Here's a throw over to second, and safe at second base will be Charlie Simpson, or check it, yes, Charlie Simpson, as he was able to evade the throw of Sam Donahoe. That's the second time that's happened. And now Post State with runners in second and third. Count is going to go to 2-2 after the second ball thrown by Rylan Arbogast. Arbogast the pitch, and Terwilliger sends it wide, keeps the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. You've got Sutton Sunshine currently at third. Charlie Simpson is the man at second. Carter Shufflebine has already come in. He's got the lone extra base hit thus far in the game. Post State got a lot of those against Spearfish on Thursday. Terwilliger trying to add another one, pops this one up once again. Last year, Cooper Terwilliger was one of the most used pitchers for Pierre. 57 1/3 innings pitched, 40 strikeouts. Has transitioned to mostly becoming a batter for Post State this year, and has been doing a darn good job of just that. And another ball popped up and fouled. Terwilliger's doing a really nice job of extending this at-bat, making life tough on Rylan Arbogast. This is where, as a pitcher, you've got to maintain your discipline, maintain your flow, and not let up an easy hit, especially with 2 runners that close to home plate. That pitch is high, and that's going to be ball 3. So the count moves to 3-2 for Cooper Terwilliger as a plane flies really close. So I guess the Sioux Falls Regional Airport must not be too far from here. It's quite an interesting sight. Reminds me of the 1984 Firecracker 400. Some of you may get that reference, and that's a swing and a miss for Cooper Terwilliger. That's now 2 strikeouts for Arbogast. He specializes in those. As I mentioned previously, he led O'Gorman in strikeouts this past 2025 high school baseball season, and he's already got 2 thus far against Post State today. That'll send on Ridge Lineback, and folks, buckle up. Here's a chopper right up the middle. This should be an easy out, and it will be, as the throw from Jackson Bjorkman's able to get to Joe Neufeld for a 4-3, and that'll do it for the top half of the first inning. Sends us to the bottom with the score 1-0. Post State on the board. Carter Shufflebine bringing a run home for the Eights. Back in 1 minute right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Don't touch that dial.
With any dream, the wind won't always be at your back, the sun won't always be shining, and some rain is going to fall. American Family Insurance is like a good solid roof that you can trust dreams, with plans that could save you up to 23% when you bundle your home and auto. Also, you can continue to dream fearlessly, no matter what comes your way. American Family Insurance.
Visit mfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company assigned its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Contact the Brittany Shufflebine Agency, LLC, 224-6627.
Looking for your next new or used car, truck, or SUV? Then go no further than the comfort of your own home. Shop online at lambmotor.com. On lambmotor.com, you'll find the vehicles Lambs has in stock. You can schedule a test drive or your vehicle's next tune-up, all online. New or used, shop for it all online, anywhere you are. Lamb Motor has the right vehicle for you. Lamb Motor in Oneida and online, lambmotor.com.
Just outside of Sioux Falls here today in Renner, South Dakota. Dylan Simmons on the call. The wind continuing to rip here at the Renner baseball field. We've got post-8 baseball action on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Let's turn that wind down a little bit as post-8 on top 1-0 over the defending state baseball champions in South Dakota. 6-3 record in South Dakota play on the year. Post-8 trying to improve their own South Dakota mark. Let's go over the defensive lineup for post-8. We've got Cooper Terwilliger at first base. Carter Shufflebine is the man at second. Dawson Getz resumes his spot as the shortstop. Grayson Hunsley is at third base. Trevor Rounds in left field. Porter Hunsley will be in center field. Sutton Sunshine in right. Charlie Simpson is the catcher. And taking the mound once again is Ridge Linebuck. We talked about him earlier on, and not only is he one of the best batters on the team, but also one of the best pitchers. A perfect ERA thus far on the season, and 9 strikeouts, just 4 hits given up, and all of that in 9 innings of action. So not a bad resume for the senior Ridge Linebuck, but we'll see what he can do against Jack Stuckel, who will lead off for Renner post 307. And Stuckel lets this go by. Count goes to 1-0 as that pitch was a little outside by Linebuck. And in these conditions, it's always interesting to see how pitchers handle the wind and everything that it brings. Sometimes it helps them, as it just did right there for Linebuck. Delivers a strike, count goes to 1-1. Stuckel had a .257 batting average for O'Gorman this past season, .424 on base percentage. That pitch high by Linebuck, counts 2-1. And that also goes along with 1 double, 18 hits, 1 triple, and 25 runs. As mentioned previously, this Renner team is led by head coach Isaac Struck, as there's a strike for Linebuck, count evens. And Struck and his assistant coach were actually thrown out of their ball game last night against Sioux Falls West. As I've been told by my friends here in the press box, he's reassumed duties today, but that just shows you the emotion that these head coaches have in Legion baseball action. We'll see if we get any of that today. Counts 3-2, and that is going to be a walk from Ridge Linebuck. So on to first base is Jack Stuckel, and a rare mistake from Linebuck. He's usually not one to issue a whole lot of free bases, but he just did right there. So Owen Lechtenberg will make his way to the plate, the left fielder for Renner post 3-7. Again, 8-10 on the year, 6-3 in South Dakota play. Coming off a state championship a year ago, but that's not the only state championship they've won, far from it. This is a team that has a great tradition of American Legion baseball. They've won 3 titles in the last 6 seasons. They won in 2019 and 2021 as well. Linebuck shows a fastball, it's high, and this count will go to 2-0 now, or check it, make it 1-1, my apologies. Owen Lechtenberg, one of the few who did not play for O'Gorman this past season, but he fits in just as well as the others, as the count here is going to be 1-2. Somewhat quiet last night against Sioux Falls West in the lone game that Renner played. Renner was on the road for that game, but didn't have to travel far. And a swing and a miss. Runner goes to second, and post 8's going to go double or nothing. They throw out Stuckel, they strike out Lechtenberg, and that is 2 outs just like that. What a throw by Charlie Simpson. What a strikeout from Linebuck. And all of a sudden, this game completely turns on its head here in the bottom half of the first inning. That is being resourceful. So a huge couple of outs for post 8 right there. Brody Jacobson makes his way to the plate as Linebuck fires in a pitch. Count goes to 0-1. But it's those kinds of plays that make all the difference, especially against a team as well-disciplined and as opportunistic as Renner is. You got to make your own opportunities count, and that's exactly what Post 8 just did. It helps, too, that Simpson and Linebuck are 2 of the veteran players for Post 8, and they know each other well. They know the timing of the game well, and when it's time to take advantage of a moment, and that's exactly what they just did. One of the most sensational double plays, or well, I guess it is a double play, but one of the most sensational defensive plays we've seen thus far this year. Here's a liner that is caught by Dawson Getz. Hopping up like the Easter Bunny with his glove hand, he snatches it out of the air. That's out 3. What a defensive inning for Post 8. They hold Renner at bay. Just 1 walk given up to Jack Stuckel, and an incredible strike him out, throw him out by Ridge Linebuck and Charlie Simpson. Back in 1 minute for the top of the second right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Post 8 on top 1-0.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 28 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agricultural. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. Call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. That's 223-2518. Todd's Electric, serving the Pierre and Fort Pierre areas. The line to power.
Ready to upgrade your ride this summer? At Beck Motor Company in Pierre, lease a brand new 2025 Cadillac XT5 for as low as $499 a month with only $34.99 due at signing. Or lease a stylish 2025 Chevy Trailblazer LS for as little as $299 a month with only $38.99 due at signing. Hurry, these offers won't last. Visit Beck Motor Company on the Truck Bypass today or shop online at beckmotors.com. Plus tax, title, license, WAC. See dealer for details. Welcome back. This is Post-8 Baseball on KCCR. I'm not going to talk quite that fast here for the actual baseball game. Your scoreboard courtesy of the American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebind Agency. Post-8 on top 1-0 over the Renner Royals. They did so courtesy of a Carter Shufflebind double and then run scored in the top half of the first. And now we'll see if they can maintain that momentum after a sensational defensive bottom of the first. Porter Hunsley, the man to the plate, 7-8-9 due up in the order for Pierre. Hunsley, and Trevor Rounds. That's Porter and Grayson, by the way, for those curious. As the pitch is in for a strike, count goes to 0-1. Now I get a spam call. I'll have to make sure to silence that. I don't know if I've ever seen a broadcaster take a call during a game. Not going to leave it out of the realm of possibility. Count goes to 1-1. I always have issues with those spam calls. I don't know if anybody else does, but it's a big problem for me. And it's always from my home area code back in Tennessee. So either somebody's been trying to get a hold of me for 6 days or something else is going on there. Here's a chopper left side that's going to bounce all the way into left field, and that is going to put Porter Hunsley on base with a leadoff single here in the top half of the second inning. He wastes no time on the 1-1 count. That's already 3 hits for Post-8 here in this game thus far. Carter Shufflebind, Sutton Sonnenschein, and Porter Hunsley all managing either a double or a single. And now the other Hunsley, Grayson, makes his way to the plate, the third baseman today for Post-8. One of the better third basemen we've seen in the state of South Dakota thus far this season. I'm sure he'll have a chance to prove that later on as this game continues. Pitch is going to be a little high here, counts 1-0. Rylan Arbogast still on the mound. Delivered a couple of strikeouts in the top of the first. And to be fair, even though he did give up the run, there could have been a lot more damage in that inning, especially with 2 runners in scoring position and just 1 out. So he did a pretty good job of fending off the remainder of the Post-8 bats. Counts 1-1 here. Trevor Rounds is currently on deck for Post-8 as this pitch is a little bit wide. And the count's going to move to 2-1. Pretty good crowd on hand on this Thursday afternoon in Renner. A lot of Post-8 fans have made the 3-hour-plus journey from Pierre. As this ball's popped up on the right side, racing after it is Bjorkman, and he can't quite get to it. Went all the way into foul ground, and he laid out, but just couldn't secure it. Count goes to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Post-8 has not had a home game this season since May 29th when they had their doubleheader to open the season against Brookings. It's been all on the road ever since, and that doesn't change this Sunday either when they hit the road to play Harrisburg for a Sunday doubleheader. They will finally be home once again next week. They were scheduled to have a home doubleheader this week, but they were canceled on by Sturgis. And thus, that's what leads to this situation as this ball's popped up over the press box. And that'll keep the count at 2-2. I've parked the KCCR mobile to the right of the ballpark, and I'm just hoping that the ball doesn't find its way over there. It's pretty far out there, so in theory we should be okay, but we'll see. Here's a line shot into left, but a great catch by Owen Lechtenberg. Looked dangerous at the start, but Lechtenberg able to haul it in. That's going to be out number 1, and it keeps Porter Hunsley at first base.
Left fielder number 32, Trevor Rounds.
Trevor Rounds will be the next man up for Post 8, the number 9 man in the order. The dimensions here at Renner Baseball Field, 360 to dead center and 297 to left field. I believe the same goes for right as well. Can't quite see right now, but you'd assume it'd be about the same. So a little over 300 for right field. Had my friends up here in the press box confirm that for me. Count right now is going to move to 1-1 for Trevor Rounds, the left fielder for Post 8 this season. Rounds with a .250 average, 2 RBIs, 4 runs, as there's a pickoff attempted at first. Unable to dispatch of Porter Hunsley. First baseman Joe Neufeld over there. Again, a 1-1 count here in the top of the second, and that pitch comes in a little low, brings the count to 2-1. Arbogast has somewhat slowed down his tempo from earlier, just trying to get his bearings back underneath him after a little bit of a shaky start in the first. Still got plenty of time to clear it up, obviously. And with strikes like that, he's certainly on the path to doing it as the count moves to 2-2 on the high fastball. Post 8 with wins over Spearfish, Sioux Falls East, Post 320, Dickinson, Westco, and Laramie thus far this season. That pitch fouled back by Rounds to keep the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. And trying to add a win or two against Renner to that collection this afternoon. The heat is another factor right now. We are well into the 90s, and that may only continue to swell as the afternoon progresses. And that was a little bit of a hesitation by Rounds. Didn't go around, though. No pun intended, as the count is going to be 3-2. Of course, Trevor, very famous dad that a lot of people know in the capital city area. And he's going to make Dad proud with a shot into right center field. Hunsley working his way over to third. The throw is not going to be in time. Runners in the corners for Post 8, and a single for Trevor Rounds as Post 8 once again answers the call with just 1 out. They got a chance to add in another couple runs as we go back to the top of the order to Carter Schuffelbein. That was a great little shot into right field, right over the head of the second baseman, Jackson Bjorkman. Nothing he could do about it, and Trevor Rounds once again delivers for Post 8, as he's done many times this season. That'll be his 4th hit thus far in 2025, which may not sound like a lot, but they've always come in big moments. Rounds has also not been integrated into the starting lineup as much as other players, but when he's gotten his chances, he has certainly made the most of it. Carter Schuffelbein thus far today with the lone extra base hit for either side. Got a double in his very first attempt, and he's going to drive one deep into right. It's going to be caught by the right fielder, Zach Sprankle, moving back to first and getting there just in time for Post 8 will be Trevor Rounds, and scoring on that play will be Porter Hunsley. So Post 8 goes on top 2-0, and they avoid the double play, thankfully, for Trevor Rounds. And they maintain a runner at first base. So Schuffelbein taken out on a liner to right field, and scoring on that play will be Hunsley. So now Schuffelbein and Hunsley have both scored runs. Rounds still safe at first, and they'll try to do what they can, Renner that is, to take him out here, as we now have Sutton Sunshine at the plate. Right fielder does have a single thus far. Here's a fly ball to left field. Lechtenberg's there, and that's an easy catch towards the base of the wall. So that's out number 3. Brings us to the bottom of the second. Post 8 extends the lead to 2-0. An RBI for Carter Schuffelbein. An RBI sac fly coming home. Porter Hunsley. Post 8 in control early on the road. Back in 1 minute right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Stolken Peterson LLP has been your local CPA firm for over 40 years, offering tax preparation, bookkeeping, payroll, and consulting services. If your business, farm, or ranch needs professional, accurate, and reliable services, we are your firm. Our clients are our #1 priority. If you need a higher level of accounting service, give us a call at 605-224-5828. That's Stolken Peterson LLP, 222 East Missouri Avenue in Pierre.
Swing for the fences with a great deal from Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre. Whether you need a powerful truck, a fuel-efficient sedan, or a spacious SUV, they've got the perfect lineup to keep you on the road and in the game. Don't strike out. Stop by today or visit CapitalCityFordToyota.com. Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota, where the best deals in town are always in play. We've got a pretty great deal, I should say, as well here in Renner, South Dakota. Post-8 baseball right here on KCCR with your 8s on top of the Renner Royals by a score of 2-0. Brogan Moffitt, the cleanup man in the order for the Royals, making his way to the plate against Ridge Leimbach in this post-8 defense, which have been in attack mode thus far. Count goes to 1-0. A throw him out, strike him out took place earlier on in the first inning. As that is a check swing, it's going to be called for a strike. Count goes to 1-1 after the appeal to the first base umpire. Brogan Moffitt and his Renner Royals team trying to overcome a couple of early mistakes here to post-8. Nice snag by Hunsley on the chopper to third. Here's a throw to first, and it can't get to Terwilliger, a little bit low. Racing his way on to second now is Moffitt. He'll get there easily. So we saw an error cost Renner in the first inning, and now a throwing error cost post-8 here in the bottom half of the second. It looks like that's officially going to be awarded as an E5 for Grayson Hunsley, although he did a sensational job just to snag that thing in the first place, then tried to turn that around and getting out at first, but the throw was just a little bit low and Terwilliger couldn't snag it. So moving all the way to second is Moffitt. Patrick Barnett will be the next man up, the designated hitter for post 307. So now Renner with a tying run represented at the plate. They've got a run currently at second base. Leimbach fastball is bunted, or at least was attempted to be bunted by Barnett. Ended up going behind him, counts 0-1. It did clang off of his bat for a foul ball. These two teams have had no common opponents thus far, although post-8 will change that when they play Harrisburg on Sunday. And again, last year, 2-run rule wins for the Royals at Hyde Stadium, as that's fouled. Counts 0-2. 10-0 and 14-0, both in 5 innings. It was a complete demolition job at Hyde Stadium, but these are two very different teams from what we saw a year ago, and they've proven that already this afternoon, and it's given us a pretty fun baseball game. What a fastball by Ridge Leimbach. He gets the strikeout looking on Barnett. That was a thing of beauty, and there's almost no batter who can deal with that kind of strikeout madness. That'll be Leimbach's first, or rather second strikeout of the game, his first of this inning. It'll send on Jackson Bjorkman, the second baseman. Leimbach keeping a close eye over at second base, fires in a rocket of a fastball over Bjorkman. It's going to go in for a ball. Counts 1-0. Bjorkman with a .268 batting average for O'Gorman this past year. 15 hits, 3 doubles, 5 ribbies. He's also a pretty good pitcher when given the chance. Had 25 2/3 innings pitched for O'Gorman, 2-3 record, 2 saves, 13 earned runs given up, 23 strikeouts, and a 3.55 earned run average. Looked like he took a peek at that one, decided to let it go. So the count's now 3-0 for Bjorkman. Leimbach has issued 1 walk in this game to Jack Stuckel, and he may be on the verge of putting another runner on base in that fashion. And that's what he's going to do on that inside pitch. 4-pitch walk for Jackson Bjorkman. He makes his way over to first base. Win picks up once again. Still just 1 out for the Royals, and now the tying run is on base for Renner. Joe Neufeld will be the next man up, as there's going to be a quick meeting on the mound here. Looks like River Iverson wants to talk things over with Ridge Leimbach. Probably just make sure that he's in the right frame of mind at this point in time, because if you're Post State, you're on top 2-0, and you don't want to lose that grip on the game. You've only got one out in this situation, though, so you got to find a way to be creative and not allow Renner to get any closer than what they currently are. And also, you got to keep in mind that they may very well look for an opportunity to get a runner on third and Brogan Moffitt, so he may very well try to steal third base. Leinbach will have to be aware of that, in addition to what he's already dealing with at the plate with Joe Neufeld. First baseman for Renner today. Leinbach keeps a close eye on second. Pitch is high. Good work by Charlie Simpson to keep that one from landing in the cage. Counts 1-0. Renner will next up be playing at the Marshall Tournament in Marshall, Minnesota. That starts this weekend, and that pitch is going to be up and over Simpson. So Leinbach flirted with it on the last pitch. This time it does end up coming back to bite him. And now two runners in scoring position for Renner. Moffitt advances to third, and Bjorkman advances to second. And now Neufeld has a chance with one good swing to tie this game up. And just like that, the Renner Royals are right back in position. That is the mark of a championship level team, that even in unfavorable circumstances, they can find ways. Count 3-0 for Leinbach. He's having issues finding the strike zone right now. If he gives up a walk here, he will juice the bases early on. He's going to do exactly that. 4-pitch walk to Joe Neufeld. Bases are loaded, and the Renner dugout getting vocal about it. Trying to encourage their teammates to completely change the dynamic of this game. Sam Donahoe will be the next man up, the catcher for Renner. Number 8 man in the order. Bases are juiced for Renner. Leinbach trying to navigate through muddy waters, and he almost delivered a hit-by pitch to Donahoe that time. Counts 1-0. Leinbach has now pitched 9 straight balls against this Royals team. A very rare stretch for a player of his caliber. This time he does deliver a strike, but this is very uncharacteristic of a veteran pitcher like Leinbach, who's usually so stout in these situations. But nobody's perfect, and he's learning that the hard way right now. He is going to get a much-needed second strike right there, though. If he can work his way out of this, he'll be nothing short of a magic man. Counts 1-2. Post State in need of a strikeout. Infield playing up, runners ready to go. Leinbach, fastball, and it's a little wide. Count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Renner last year with a 15-3 start to the season, 8-10 this season. In the month of June, they were incredible, and there's a swing and a miss for Ridge Leinbach. Talk about incredible. That was a Mr. Incredible level strikeout by Ridge Leinbach right there. His third of the game, gets it on Donahoe. It sends on Zach Sprinkle with 2 away here in the bottom of the second. Sprinkle, the right fielder, and this is exactly the kind of remedy that Post State needed. They get that big strikeout. Now that you've got that out, it gives you a lot more wiggle room as far as how you can end this inning. You don't need a strikeout, you just need an out of any variety. So getting that, absolutely massive. They may be able to get out of this with no runs given up. Still a tall order, especially against Zach Sprinkle. Swing and a miss. Count goes to 1-1. So Ridge Leinbach, who had been struggling immensely, all of a sudden it's like he's caught lightning in a bottle once again, and he's right back to his old self. It's bizarre when that happens, but pitchers can sometimes flip that switch just like that. Fires this one a little bit outside the zone. Counts 2-1. Leinbach much more patient with his pitching tempo right now. Swing and a miss. Great off speed that time. We'll call that a fastball, actually. Count moves to 2-2. It almost fools you into thinking it's an off-speed pitch by the way it looks, but did seem like a fastball from our vantage point. Now a 2-2. And that fastball delivers. What a response by Ridge Leinbach, who had bases loaded and 1 out. He comes back and delivers 2 straight strikeouts. He's now got 4 total, and the score remains 2-0. Post State on top of the defending state champs in game 1. Back in 1 minute, right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
Becky Potsaba and State Farm Insurance are here to help you with your insurance and banking needs. State Farm's not just insurance, it's banking, investments, IRAs, loans, and a whole lot more. We offer guidance in a personal and caring way that helps you manage the risks of everyday life, recover from the unexpected, and find ways to control costs so you can realize your dreams. We know how life is, and we're here for you. Stop in to see Becky at 1315 East Wells Avenue in Pierre, or call Becky at 224-4173.
Welcome back to Renner. This is Post-Day Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Dylan Simmons with you here on this Thursday afternoon. By the way, quick advert, folks. Join us for the KCCR Morning Show in the morning, funny enough, at 6 a.m. sharp. John Winkler, myself, and Zach Nelson will bring you all the latest from the events happening in the Capital City area and a recap of tonight's games from our great sports director, John Winkler. Post-8 on top 2-0 over the Renner Royals here on the road. Dawson gets to lead off in this frame. His team with the advantage, hot off the heels of Ridge Limbach delivering two of the best strikeouts you'll see in a very critical situation. Count goes to 1-0. Pitch number 2 on the way from Arbogast, and this one is going to be sent to foul grounds and uncatchable. Counts 1-1. We've seen a few well-hit balls in this game, and you'd think that they would probably travel further if it wasn't for the wind that we're currently experiencing. But you know what? We live in the state of South Dakota, and you know what that means. Wind. There's a lot of it. Counts 1-1. Getz lets that go by. Count moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. Renner 5-7 in road games, 3-5 in home games before last night's Sioux Falls West game this season, as that one's fouled by Getz. And a big 18-wheeler goes by. The road here is pretty close to the Renner baseball field, so whenever a big automobile of any kind comes by, you can hear it from a pretty easy distance. Counts 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dawson Getz looking for his first hit in over a week. And he will foul this one as well. Keeps the count at 2-2. Of course, when you have a situation like this and you haven't played in a little bit, you can be a little bit rusty. So Getz just kind of trying to recapture that form a little bit. In due time, there's no doubt he will. But it's a little bit of a learning process. Here's a ground ball on the right side. Bjorkman's right there, throws on to first and gets the out just barely on the speedy Dawson Getz. That's a 4-3. 1 down here in the top half of the 3rd inning. Sends on Charlie Simpson. That's been about the only easy out that Renner's had on Post-8 this entire game. Every Post-8 batter has made it tough on Rylan Arbogast, but able to get the out there. And the Royals are hoping for more of that as this game continues. But it's not going to be easy with shots like this. Here's a drive into right center that's going to get down towards the base of the wall. Charlie Simpson, the man doing the honors with a single here in the top half of the 3rd. He's aboard, and just like that, Post-8 is back in business. Cooper Terwilliger will be the next man up. He is one of the few who have struck out thus far for Post-8. 2 strikeouts thus far in the game for Arbogast. Terwilliger struck out swinging his first time up. Taking a quick look at the Post-8 dugout. What a job by Charlie Simpson on that drive into right field. Again, with the shorter ballpark here, you get extended opportunities for deeper shots. And who knows, maybe even some homers. Swing and a miss. Count goes to 0-1. We saw Ridge Limbach just last week at Black Hills Energy Stadium, which has deeper dimensions, get a home run. So we'll see if maybe we get a similar situation here. with extended opportunities. Here's a ground ball that gets all the way into center field. Another base hit for Post 8. Terwilliger's going to be 1 for 2 with a single and 1 out. Post 8 now with 2 runners aboard. Simpson at second, Terwilliger at first. As he delivers on the 0-1 count, you knew it was just a matter of time before Coop, as they call him, was able to do just that. Had the best batting average on the team for the Govs at many portions this past season. He's had the best batting average on Post 8 at points this year. He's just always seemingly an automatic hit for Post 8 on most occasions. Swing and a miss as the count goes to 0-1 for Leimbach. Grounded 1 out to second his last time up. Now just 1 out and runners on first and second. Prime position for Post 8 to extend their 2-run lead. Here's a ground ball that's fouled to the right of the bag. Counts 0-2. It's one that Leimbach's probably glad didn't end up going into the field of play. It was a slow roller that would have been easy for Joe Neufeld to take care of, but instead winded up going just a little bit to the right. Count is 0-2. Pitch to Leimbach is fouled once again, and it was headed towards the KCCR mobile, and my heart skipped a beat for a second. Do not want to have that conversation with my general manager or John. That would not be a fun one for me. Of course, it is the game of baseball, and these kinds of things, they do happen. Counts 0-2. And that is not going to be in the zone, just a little bit wide. Counts 1-2. Looked like a solid pitch from Rylan Arbogast, but just didn't quite find where it needed to be. Post 8 is 4-2 in true road games this year. Just 0-2 at home, obviously, with their only games being against Brookings. Here's a ground ball to third, chance for a double play. There's one, throw to first is in time, and a great double play from Brody Jacobson, getting it to Joe Neufeld, and that is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Renner Royals. Keeps the score at 2-0, and Post 8 comes up empty despite 2 runners on base. Back in 1 minute right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Don't touch that dial, folks.
Is it the competition that keeps bringing you back? The long-standing rivalries? Or is it seeing friends again and cheering on your favorite team? At First Dakota, we're here for it all. We appreciate the fans, the players, the coaches and officials, the concessions crew. The shared community experience is part of what makes life here great, and we're here for it. See you at the game. First Dakota National Bank, member FDIC.
For over 60 years, Ferding Electric has been powering homes and businesses across central South Dakota. When you need reliable electrical service, trust the experts with decades of experience. Whether it's a simple residential repair, a complex commercial installation, or even electrical work on your farm, Ferding Electric has you covered. And if you're tired of searching everywhere for that hard-to-find bulb, Ferding Electric carries a wide selection of bulbs, including those hard-to-find fluorescent and specialty options. Visit us at 2903 East Elizabeth Street or call today, 605-224-8684.
We've got a high-impact, high-tension game between Post 8 and Renner right here on KCCR this afternoon. We've reached the bottom half of the third inning with your score, Pierre 2, Renner 0. Post 8 on top, but only by a tenuous 2, and I say tenuous because Jack Stuckel's at the plate looking to deliver a game-changing swing against Ridge Leimbach, who had some issues in the bottom half of the second inning, but did a great job to get out of that tough spot. With bases loaded and 1 out, ended up giving up no runs, had a couple of strikeouts in a row to get out of that mess. Count moves to 2-0 here on Stuckel. Got himself into that mess, though, with a couple of walks, so he's trying to avoid that happening again. But now he's got 3 balls, just like that. So he may be in danger of issuing yet another walk in this game, and he's already got 3 that he's allowed. That is going to be a hit-by pitch. It caught Stuckel in the left arm, it looked like, so it's a change of pace, but not in the right way for Ridge Leimbach. Runner at first for the Renner Royals. Stuckel able to get aboard in an unconventional fashion. Owen Lechtenberg makes his way to the plate. He struck out swinging his first time up. Leimbach's first strikeout. This is the second time through the order for Renner. Approaching the midway point in this game, that pitch comes in a little high. Count moves to 1-0. really start to hear the wind now. That was a massive gust, probably in the high 20s, maybe even 30 range at some point in time. Sustained winds aren't bad, but these gusts certainly can come out of nowhere and make an impact on both a pitcher and a hitter. Counts 1-1 for Leimbach. No outs, bottom of the third, runner at first. And a swing and a miss. Leimbach's pitches may not always be in the zone, but there's one thing that he excels at, and that's making you think you can hit his pitches and you just can't. And it goads a lot of batters into swinging, and a lot of times it just doesn't work out. Owen Lechtenberg learning that the hard way right there. This fastball is again high. Count's going to be 2 balls, 2 strikes. See some of the dust up on the YouTube stream. That wind really pushing it around right now. The 2-2, swing and a miss, and Ridge Leimbach delivers once again. You knew it was just a matter of time before that next strikeout would be ordered, and that's exactly what happened. He's now got 5 just like that in this bottom half of the 3rd inning for the game. So Lechtenberg is retired. It sends on Brody Jacobson. Stukel remains at first, hoping to find a buddy to come aboard with him. Jacobson line went out to Dawson Getz his last time up. And that one's up and over the head of Charlie Simpson. That'll be an easy stroll to second, for Stukel. Leimbach just kind of lost the handle. It's been, unfortunately, somewhat of a familiar theme at points in this game. And Leimbach's hoping that doesn't continue. Counts 1-0. Leimbach, as this one's driven into left for a base hit, and it goes way up and outside the range of Trevor Rounds. Took an odd hop off the grass. A run's going to come home as Stukel scores. All the way to second is Jacobson. So an odd turn of events. Looked like Rounds just had that one bounce in an odd way off the grass, and I guess the official awarding of that's going to be a double for Jacobson, an RBI double that sends home Stukel, and the lead for Post 8 cut in half. It's now a 2-1 game, runner at second with 1 out, and Brody Jacobson able to deliver a big swing as Brogan Moffitt heads to the plate, and that one gets away from Simpson low, all the way to third now, and getting in there safe is Jacobson, and things just continue to go from bad to worse for Ridge Leimbach and Post 8 in this frame. This is not looking like as sure of a bet as it did originally. So the count is 1-0. Here's a chopper that gets over the head of Leimbach and bounces off of the second baseman Shufflebein. The throw is not going to make it in time, and a run scores for Renner. Coming home is Brody Jacobson, and we are notched at 2 runs apiece. RBI single for Brogan Moffitt. And this game has completely turned on its head. Post 8 was flirting with this in the bottom half of the second, and now in the bottom half of the third, it has come to fruition. Patrick Barnett to the plate, as Leimbach is going to have to shore some stuff up. Swing and a miss here, counts 0-1. And if you're Ridge Leimbach, this is what you feared happening in this frame, is kind of you losing the handle, losing control of this game. And Renner, despite trailing for most of this game in the early portions, has easily responded. Count's going to go to 0-2. Leimbach getting some support from his teammates in the dugout, trying to urge him on to get this strikeout and bring this bottom of the third to a close, and that is going to be an easy strikeout for Post 8 right there as they get one on Patrick Barnett. Caught him swinging, and a big one for Leimbach, his 6th of the game. Second out in the bottom of the third, and that sends on Jackson Bjorkman, who reached on a walk his last time up. Bjorkman eager to capitalize on this chance for Renner. Last year, Renner was 14-5 in the month of June, had a 7-game winning streak. So if last year's anything to go by, June has treated Isaac Struck's squad well. Swing and a miss for Bjorkman. Just like that, the count's 0-2. June has been an improvement to some degree for Renner thus far, but there have been some setbacks as well. Got off to a hot start this season in the month of May. Early part of June, though, they lost several in a row, most of them out-of-state games and tournament games. So you can only judge them so harshly from that perspective. Post 8 obviously also with some tournament games in their own right. We're not done with tournament season yet, and Ridge Leimbach is not finished with Jackson Bjorkman and Renner. He gets a 7th strikeout in the game and a 2nd straight strikeout to end the bottom half of the 3rd. Sends us to the top of the 4th, but Renner puts 2 runs on the scoreboard. RBIs from Brody Jacobson and Brogan Moffitt, the number 3 and 4 men in the order. Shaping up to be a good one here in Eastern South Dakota. Back here in 1 minute's time, right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Venture Communications has deep roots in rural South Dakota. Venture now proudly provides fiber to the home with 100% of our customers, enabling them to enjoy super fast and reliable internet connections. We'd like the opportunity to keep you in touch with the people and resources that matter most. 100% fiber and 100% committed to rural South Dakota. Call Venture Communications today at 605-852-2224, 605-852-2224, or online at venturecom.net.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Welcome back to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We've reached the top of the 4th with your score, 2 runs for Pierre and Renner. It's been a good one here at the Renner baseball field thus far today. We are far from done. Still on the mound for Post 307 is Rylan Arbogast as he gets ready to take on Porter Hunsley. Both teams have used just one pitcher thus far. Ridge Leimbach running into a few issues in the bottom half of the 3rd, giving up 2 runs. But Renner also with their own tough frame earlier on that has brought this score to what it is at 2-2. Arbogast has gotten a better handle on his pitches, though, as time's gone on. Post 8 had a couple runners on base in the last frame and couldn't capitalize. Counts 1-1. Hunsley, Grayson Hunsley, and Trevor Round, 7, 8, 9, due up in the order. Same as the top of the 2nd. Here is a ground ball to short. Throw to first in time for a 6-3. Brody Jacobson cleans that one up well, gets it to Neufeld. 1 down in the top of the 4th.
Left fielder, number 14, Grayson Hunsley.
So Grayson Hunsley, the next man up. Hunsley's back-to-back here in the batting order. Trevor Rounds will make his way on deck. Grayson with a .229 average on the season, 3 ribbies, 6 runs, 8 total hits. Last year at a .263 average, .326 on-base percentage, and 31 hits. One of the few players who did not play for the Governors this past season. But a great addition to the Post 8 baseball team, obviously in 2025. Not really, I guess, an addition as much as it is a retention, but it's a good one. He's certainly a valued member of this roster and a big piece to work off of. This ball's popped up on the right side. Should be easy for Sprankle, and he will locate it on the edge of right field for out 2. So 2 up, 2 down, just like that. Here in this top half of the 4th, Trevor Rounds will make his way to the plate. Post 8's played in a lot of close games this season. It's been sort of a blessing and a curse. They have had 6 games that have been decided by 2 runs or less. As John and I mentioned on the KCCR morning show earlier this week, they could very easily be an 11-2 baseball team right now. If the ball bounces their way a couple different times, this could be an entirely different looking team record-wise at this point in the year. But conversely, if they don't get some breaks in other games, they could be worse overall. Right now sitting at 7-6, right around that 500 mark. Counts 1-1, and that does include out-of-state games. had to travel to Dickinson, North Dakota this past weekend to play the Dickinson Rough Riders. Swinging a miss by Rounds, counts 1-2, which makes this trip out to Renner not seem as bad as one might think when you have to travel 4.5 hours north, and northwest to be specific. Counts 1-2 for Rounds, who's in danger of getting struck out by Arbogast and bringing this game quickly to the bottom of the fourth. High fastball is above the zone, counts 2 balls, 2 strikes. Post State with that Dickinson Rough Riders doubleheader. It's the only game they've played actually outside the state of South Dakota thus far this year, and should remain that way. Pitch is low, and the count's 3-2. Of course, they played teams from Nebraska and Wyoming in the Rapid City tournament, the Veterans Classic, a couple weekends ago. Full count for Rounds, our first payoff pitch in the fourth. And Rounds blasts one off to right center field, racing after it. Sprinkle cannot hold on to it. He does try to throw on to second, and Rounds wisely retreats to first base. Was thinking about going for that second base bag, but stopped at first base. Smart decision. He's got a single here in the top half of the fourth inning. Rounds now with 2 hits in the game thus far, and that one was a heck of a shot to right center. Sprinkle did what he could to try to catch that thing, and he had it in his glove, but when he fell to the ground, gravity was not his friend, and the ground wasn't either, and the ball got dislodged. Third time through the order for Post State. Carter Shufflebein is at the plate, and he will let this pitch go by as the count is 1 ball, no strikes. Sutton Sunshine will be the next man up. He flew out to left his last time at the plate. Shufflebein hoping to give him an opportunity. That pitch comes in low and outside, and the count moves to 2-0. Shufflebein, such a disciplined batter. Very hard guy to strike out in situations like these. Doesn't lead the team in any particular category, but he might lead the team in heart with the way he plays and the way he can inspire rallies and give the team momentum. And that's not a stat that's shown on a sheet, but it's as valuable as any that you can have. 2-1, ground ball to short, Jacobson there, and he will just underhand toss to second to Bjorkman to end the inning and get the out at second on Rounds. So that will send us to the bottom half of the fourth with your score still 2-2. Trevor Rounds gets 1 single in the inning, but that's it. Back in 1 minute right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Yag Air Incorporated is your locally owned ag, chemical, and seed retailer. Yag Air Incorporated offers reliable ground and aerial application. For the latest seed and chemical pricing, contact Kyle at 605-280-8710 or Tony at 605-280-4771. Yag Air for all your ag, chemical, and seed needs. Kyle, 605-280-8710 or Tony, 605-280-4771.
You just got a quote from a company and are now being billed for not choosing them. Many contracts have what's referred to as a contingency agreement. These typically state that if you don't go with them, you, after insurance has approved the repair work, will be charged a percentage of the job they quoted. Ask up front if they charge to provide an estimate. Never sign anything that you haven't fully read or understand. If you have any questions, reach out to the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986.
Welcome back to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. This is game 1 of this evening's doubleheader between Pierre Post 8 and Renner Post 307. Tie game at 2 runs apiece. It is Renner's turn to head to the plate in the bottom half of the fourth. Joe Neufeld will lead off this frame, followed by Sam Donahoe and Zach Sprinkle. 7-8-9. Pitch is delivered for a ball. Count is 1-0 for Ridge Leinbach, who remains on the mound. He's had somewhat of a tough go at it. Hasn't been bad in this game per se, but has had some lapses where he's given up several walks and allowed men on base. Also has a hit by pitch to his tally, but he's also got 7 strikeouts, so it's been a pretty solid day from that end. Up and down is the best way to describe it. But rest assured, Ridge is still playing high-quality baseball, and he's going to keep it going. Fastball here is in for a strike. Counts 2-1. Biggest thing he's had issue with is just locating the strike zone on certain batters. Sometimes it seems automatic, other times not so much. Wind picks up here at Renner Baseball Field. Counts 2-1. Ground ball delivered to the right side, and that's going to be a foul ball. Counts 2-2. By the way, we've reached the top of the hour. This is KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront broadcasting station. 5 o'clock Central Time here at Renner Baseball Field. About halfway through game number 1 between Pierre and the Renner Royals. 2-2 pitch. Linebach fastball, and that is going to be strike 3. Strikeout number 8 for Ridge Linebach in this game as he dispatches of Joe Neufeld. Got him swinging. Sam Donahoe will be the next man up. Number 8 man in the order, struck out swinging his first time, and it was actually part of a massive 2 strikeouts in a row for Linebach in the second inning to get Pierre out of a 1-out bases loaded jam. Ended up giving up no runs. Renner would respond in the bottom of the third, though, to score 2 runs, and thus that's how we got the score we've got right now. Linebach high fastball, and Simpson did a good job of just pulling that one in. Count's going to be 2-0 just like that. Linebach was able to recover against Neufeld, and this will help start him off against Donahoe. Counts 2-1. Donahoe playing for Renner this year as he fouls that one up and away. Counts 2-2, or yes, 2-2. Doesn't have any stats on Game Changer. None of the Royals do. Most of the stats I've got are from their time with O'Gorman, so you kind of have to guesstimate as to what they would be at. You can make some assumptions. As the count moves to 3 balls and 2 strikes for Linebach. Crucial payoff pitch coming up. Both dugouts getting vocal. This is chopped foul. Donahoe just got a piece of it. Linebach challenged him with that quick fastball, and you can bet that he will probably go back to old reliable right here, his strongest pitch, which has done him well in this game. So we'll try the 3-2 again. Linebach, he does use the fastball, and it's in there for a strike. Caught Donahoe looking. He was not expecting it to break at the last second, which is exactly what it did, and it was enough to get out number 2 and strikeout number 9. What a game for Ridge Linebach strikeout-wise. He is on a near record pace right now. His last 4 outs have all been strikeouts. Pretty sensational stuff from number 47. Gets a strike here, counts 0-1. And now if you're Zach Sprinkle, you've got to try to find a way to break this up. Easier said than done right now. Count's going to be 1-1 on that pitch that was a little bit up and above. Sprinkle just trying to find a way to break the momentum. He'll foul this one off, and the count will quickly go to 1-2. For O'Gorman, he had a .250 average, .353 on-base percentage, and 14 hits this past season. Brought in to help stabilize this batting core for the Royals, and he fouls this one as well. Keeps the count at 1-2. The Bats have had some struggles this year. They've scored 2 runs or less 8 times in the month of June, which has been somewhat of an issue against high-quality opponents such as Post State. Pitching has also had their woes. They've given up 10-plus runs 6 different times this year. Linebach watches that liner end up sailing into foul ground, keeping the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. But Renner's also had dominant performances. They've only lost 3 South Dakota games. Did lose 2 in a row to Watertown. This is a softly hit ball right to the second baseman, Carter Shufflebein, for out 3. So that sends us to the top of the 5th, and that was a pretty successful inning for Post State. 3 up, 3 down, 2 more strikeouts for Ridge Linebach. He's got a total of 9, and we remain tied at 5, heading into 5 with the score at 2-2. Back in 1 minute, right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Summer is here and Beck Motor Company is stepping up to the plate. As a proud supporter of Legion Baseball, we're hitting it out of the park with unbeatable deals on the Chevy and Cadillac vehicles. Whether you're looking for the power of a Chevy Silverado or the luxury of a Cadillac Escalade, Beck Motor Company has the perfect ride for you. So swing by today. Take your game and your drive to the next level. Beck Motor Company, your local Chevy and Cadillac dealer. Proud to support our youth and ready to put you behind the wheel of your dream vehicle. www.beck-motors.com. 605-224-5912.
Walking together in faith, living together in faith, working together in faith, that's who we are.
Hi, this is Pastor Sam Hanschke. I hope that our athletes have an excellent and successful season. I pray that God would continue to richly bless them. I invite you to join me in praying for our athletes during the year.
We're Faith Lutheran and we are glad you're here.
Welcome back to Post-State Baseball on KCCR. Dylan Simmons with you on YouTube and on KCCR on this Thursday afternoon. Glad you're joining us here from the Renner baseball field. Wind's still up, game action still up. Post-State tied with Renner at a score of 2-2 in game number 1. Trying to break the tie with Sutton Sonnenschein, who's about to take up his third time through the order. 2-3-4 due up for Pierre in this frame. That wind picking up. Rylan Arbogast still on the mound, as here's a chopper to the left side, picked up by the third baseman. Reagan Moffitt gets it on to first base for a 5-3. Out one Brogan Moffitt, my apologies. One down here in the top half of the 5th inning. Sends on Dawson Getz, who is grounded out to second and struck out looking his 2 times up in the order today. Arbogast has done a really nice job since the early portion of this game of really holding Pierre down. Post-State scored 2 runs in the first 2 innings of the game, but Arbogast has delivered ever since. And there's a strike, counts 0-1. Dawson Getz has been off to a slow start thus far in this game. His first game for Post-State in a couple weeks after not playing last weekend. Faces the 0-1 and watches it come in low. Count moves to 1-1. Some of the stands here at the Renner baseball field have filled up more and more as time's gone on. Now that wind is a little more sustained than it was earlier, and you can tell it's having an effect on the trajectory of the baseball just a bit, but it didn't affect Arbogast from getting a strike. Count goes to 1-2. Arbogast with a 3.30 earned run average for O'Gorman this past season, 46 2/3 innings pitched. This is going to be a little low for ball number 2. The count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Arbogast last year against Post-State had 1 hit and 1 RBI as well when he was playing as the batter. Not so much thus far in this game, but could go to the batting box, or batter's box, I should say, in game number 2, or maybe even game 1. Counts 3-2 here. Payoff pitch on the way for Getz, trying to get on base for the first time in a couple weeks. Payoff popped up and fouled, and Getz does a good job of keeping this at-bat alive. Beautiful view here at the Renner baseball field. Don't want to kind of use hyperbole too much, but it almost looks like the Field of Dreams in a way if you see it from a certain perspective. I was not that far away. Payoff pitch, Getz fouls it once more. This baseball will likely land in the road behind us, and hopefully there's nobody coming through when it does. Keeping the count at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Post-State trying to get win number 8 on the season and move to have having won 5 of their last 6 games total and 8 of their last 11. And that's ball 4. Getz knew it immediately. So Arbogast, who's been pretty good at avoiding giving up free bases in this game, just gave one up right there. Dawson Getz moves on to first, runner aboard for Pierre. That is the first walk issued by Arbogast in this game. As Charlie Simpson comes to the plate, he's reached base twice already in this game. He's been a huge thorn in the side of the Renner Royals thus far, and he slaps that one foul. It's going to land somewhere out towards one of the parking lots here. Counts 0-1. Top of the 5th inning between Post-State and the Renner Royals. Both teams trying to solidify themselves as state tournament contenders. And that pitch will come in a little bit low. Count is 1-1. Isaac Struck looking on as his team tries to find their winning ways once again here at home. Trying to maintain their momentum after the win last night against Sioux Falls West. There's a strike, and the count quickly goes to 1-2. Cooper Terwilliger is currently the man on deck. He and Simpson both, I should say, both have managed hits in this game. That is not going to be one as it's fouled. Keeping the count at 1-2. A lot of baseball sent to that right field foul ground by Charlie Simpson in this at-bat. Most importantly, though, he's doing a good job of keeping this at-bat alive and maybe making Arbogast second guess to some degree. That pitch is low. That's ball 2. Did not find the mark. Arbogast could not quite fit that one in the zone. And this is exactly what Post State wants to do. Patient at-bats. Don't try to force anything, but do what you need to do. And that is going to be called for ball 3. Just barely missed the zone. Counts 3-2. Now the payoff pitch. Arbogast has this one slapped past the diving glove of the shortstop, Brody Jacobson. Runners on first and second for Pierre. Simpson has his second straight single. He's now 2 for 3 on the day. And Post State with 2 runners aboard. Cooper Terwilliger will be the next man up, who struck out swinging and got a single in this game thus far. And that was a beautiful line shot from Simpson right up and into center field. And Jacobson did what he could to try to dive after that thing, but he could not come up with it. Now Terwilliger trying to join his friends on base. Here's a chopper, should be easy for Jacobson, and it's gonna be not so easy indeed. So Terwilliger able to make it on to first base. I thought that Jacobson would be able to handle that, but it took a bit of an odd bounce and he had to slide at an awkward angle. And Terwilliger able to make it on to first with a single of his own. Bases are juiced for Pierre with just 1 out. That'll send on Ridge Leimbach, who surprisingly has not had the explosive day that he's known for. He's 0 for 2, grounded out into a double play his last time up. That'd be worst case scenario right here. But Arbogast having trouble with this heart of the order. Pitch to Leimbach, little outside and away, counts 1-0. Leimbach, of course, needs no introduction as far as his batting escapades are concerned. A 441 average on the season, 12 RBIs, 15 hits, which is tied for the team lead with Sutton Sonnenschein. 3 doubles as well. Here's a ground ball and a chance to turn a double play. 1 out, and there's the second. That's the second time that Ridge Leimbach has grounded out into a double play as Bjorkman got it to Jacobson, back to Neufeld, a 4-6-3 double play. Leimbach retired in Post State despite having the bases loaded, and 1 out comes up empty. A frustrating turn of events. It keeps the score at 2-2. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Has it been years since you've been to the dentist? Are you afraid to see a dentist? If so, you are among many people who feel this way. Hi, I am Dr. Michelle Hofer of Missouri River Dentistry. At our office, we pride ourselves as an office that uses a personal touch to offer gentle dentistry, tailored to fit each patient's needs. We do so by utilizing state-of-the-art equipment and methods which allow the patients to feel comfortable. So whether it has been many years or 6 months since your last dental visit, your oral health is important. We invite you to call us at Missouri River Dentistry, 223-2021, 223-2021.
Are you a farmer in the Highmore area? Do you need a trusted partner for your grain and agronomy needs? Look no further than AgTegra. AgTegra is built on a legacy of farmer-owned cooperatives, providing superior service and relentless innovation for generations. We're committed to your success and the safety of our employees and members. For your grain needs, call Chance Scott at 605-846-1099. And for all your agronomy needs, reach out to Cole Hamlin at 605-871-9572. AgTegra, growing together for generations. Welcome back to Post-State Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Dylan Simmons on the call on a frustrating end to the top of the fifth. Ridge Linebaugh grounding into a double play. He's now 0 for 3 on the day, but he's got to put all that in the rear view and get back to his pitching prowess, which has been sensational in this middle part of the game. Count goes to 0-1 against the man at the plate, Jack Stuckel, who reached on a hit by pitch his last time up. Lets this go by, and the count, it looks like it's going to be 1-1, so a little bit outside for Linebaugh that time. Pierre had the bases loaded as Linebaugh delivers a strike. Had the bases loaded, just one out, and then the double play for the second time today by Ridge Linebaugh changed that, as that is going to be a fair ball as it went off the glove of Cooper Terwilliger. He kind of just stood in place and watched it as it rolled into foul ground, and it's going to be a single for Jack Stuckel. Sutton Sunshine was the closest to it when it finally landed, and Terwilliger just unable to hold on to it. Leadoff single here in the bottom half of the fifth as Stuckel able to get on base for the third time in this game. He's reached on a walk, hit by pitch, and single now. And Owen Lechtenberg now aboard, or now making his way to the plate as the tying run, or the leading run, I should say, is now at first base for Renner. That pitch comes in a little bit wide, and the count goes to 1-0. And right now, Linebaugh just trying to do everything he can to make sure this score remains at 2-2. Here's a bunt laid down. Linebaugh got to be ready for it. He is. Throws on to first. Terwilliger able to snag it for out number 1. So good work by Terwilliger. Lechtenberg's bunt, though, does the job and advances Jack Stuckel on to second. One down in the bottom of the fifth after that trade on the New York Stock Exchange sends on Brody Jacobson. So Jacobson was able to get a double his last time up. An RBI double, as a matter of fact, sent home Stuckel. Gave Renner their first run of this game in the bottom half of the third. Linebaugh keeping a close eye on second. Almost balked there, but did a good job of not creating that situation. Fastball is fouled up and over our press box. And the count is going to move to 0-1. Brogan Moffitt, the man currently on deck. He's also got an RBI in this game, RBI single. It's been an up and down day for Ridge Linebaugh. Here's a ground ball into right field for a base hit. This is going to score Jack Stuckel, or will it? As he's coming around, he does make it in time to throw offline from right field from Sutton Sunshine, and it's a 3-2 baseball game, courtesy of an RBI single from Brody Jacobson. He's now got 2 RBIs in this game, runners on first and second, or yes, first and second for Renner, and a 3-2 lead for the Royals here in the bottom half of the fifth inning. Renner is taking control. Brogan Moffitt now to the plate, and this one is completely changed all of a sudden. Linebaugh fires in a fastball, and that's high for ball 1. And now the Royals, who are very much used to this situation, are starting to feel the tide of the game turning in their favor and are trying to make life even harder on Linebaugh and company. Here's a chopper into right field for another base hit. This could score another run. Looks like staying at third for now is going to be Brody Jacobson. Brogan Moffitt makes his way over to first, and we've got runners on first and third for the Renner Royals. So another single for Brogan Moffitt, keeping the score at 3-2. Patrick Barnett will be the next man up. I think I may have mistakenly said there were 2 base runners originally. There are now, but there weren't just a second ago. That will send on Patrick Barnett. Barnett lets this pitch go by. It's in for a strike. Count goes to 0-1. Runners in the corners for the Renner Royals, who are in position to maybe take this game over and possibly put an end to this thing early. As, look at this, caught in no man's land for a second. And still on the rundown. There's a little bit of trickery from Moffitt and Jacobson, trying to see if they could maybe force Linebaugh into a mistake. They were trying to do the double steal maneuver, and it didn't quite work. Leinbach's seen that enough. He knows when that's coming, and he was ready for it. A little bit of a cat and mouse. Oh, they're going to try it again. Moffitt takes off, and Leinbach is just saying, stay right there at third to Jacobson. He's keeping close eye, trying to chase down Moffitt, and he's going to let him go to second. So Leinbach didn't get as aggressive as he may have wanted to, and he decided to let Moffitt just go ahead and take second base. And it ended up working out well for the Renner Royals. So that was a little bit of an unfortunate circumstance for Ridge Leinbach. Got caught in no man's land. Delivers a pitch here. It's in for a strike. Counts 0-2 to Patrick Barnett. But the double steal didn't work exactly the way that Renner wanted, but it does get two runners in scoring position. Here's a ground ball that goes underneath Leinbach. Shortstop's able to throw on to first and does get the out, but a run scores for the Renner Royals, as coming home is Brody Jacobson. It's an RBI for Patrick Barnett. Make it a 4-2 baseball game. Leinbach fell down on the mound. It was a good job by Dawson Getz to get to that baseball and get the out at first, at least, on Barnett. It sends on Jackson Bjorkman, who's going to foul this one, and the count moves to 0-1 quickly. So now just one runner on third for Renner, who's on top by a score of 4-2. 2 runs scored in this inning, and an RBI from Patrick Barnett. Bjorkman struck out looking his last time up. Leinbach puts this one wide, counts 1-1. And now Post 8, who was in control on top 2-0 early in this game, is going to have to try to find a remedy and do it fast. Leinbach, nice fastball that time. Count goes to 1-2. Pierre with a team earned run average this season of 4.29. It's been up and down for them pitching-wise. 63 Ks, 56 earned runs given up, and 89 total hits coming into this game. This ball is popped up and fouled, keeping the count at 1-2 for Bjorkman. Reached on a walk his first time up, struck out looking his second time. Wind picking up once again here in Renner. Leinbach's pitch is low in the dirt. Simpson did a good job of keeping it in front of him, and the count is 2-2. Bottom of the 5th here at the Renner baseball field. Royals trying to win yet another game against Post 8 here at home. Leinbach fastball, and that's going to be ball number 3. Ruling it just outside the zone is the home plate umpire. Leinbach's got to find a way to lock in and quickly. The 3-2. Swing and a miss, so he does get the inning-ending strikeout. That is his 10th K of the game, but it's going to be bittersweet as Renner puts up 2 runs on the scoreboard. They're on top by a score of 4-2. RBIs from Brody Jacobson and Patrick Barnett in this frame. We're on to the top of the 6th. Back in 1 minute right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
Welcome back to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Dylan Simmons on the call. Your Post 8 baseball team down by a score of 4-2 to the Renner Royals as Porter Hunsley makes his way to the plate. 7, 8, 9 due up in the order once again for Post 8. This is the 3rd time today that's happened, funny enough. Usually this has been a pretty good spot in the order for Post State. And Porter Hunsley's going to try to see to it that that continues. Ground ball to second, and the throw is high up over the head of Joe Neufeld. Hunsley making his way on to second. The throw is going to be in time to get Hunsley. What a recovery by Joe Neufeld. Got it all the way on to second. Jacobson cleaned up Porter Hunsley, and what was a single is now an out. So Porter Hunsley would have been on base, but he decided to try to go for second. You can't blame him in that situation, but he just didn't account for the fact that Joe Neufeld would use his cannon arm to take him out at second base. What a recovery by the first baseman, and Post State back to square one. Grayson Hunsley makes his way to the plate, counts 1-0. Pierre has had, without question, some unlucky breaks in this game, and that was another great example of that. Just have not had luck go their way thus far. Count is 1-0. That pitch is high, and the count will now, just like that, move to 2-0. Opportunity is still very much knocking, but Post State's only got 6 more outs to work with to try to tie this game up at 4 runs apiece. Here's a fly ball to right, and it gets down in front of Zach Sprinkle. It's going to be a base hit for Grayson Hunsley, not Porter Hunsley. So he's able to get a single, much like his brother, except this time he stays on first base, and Pierre with a runner aboard. Sends Trevor Rounds to the plate. Left fielder is already 2 for 2 on the day against Rylan Arbogast, who's still on the mound, doing a pretty good job thus far. There is some action right now in the Pierre bullpen. We will see if Pierre wants to make a pitching change in the bottom of the 6th. Run number 3 is at first base for Post State with just 1 out. Count goes to 0-1 on the strike for Rounds. He's been a game changer thus far today. I don't know what I was trying to say there. Thus far today. That pitch off speed, it's going to be called for a strike. Counts 0-2. Arbogast is in position for his first strikeout in a good bit. He's only got 2 in this game, and he hasn't had one since the 2nd. As our camera fell down, and that's going to be a strikeout on Rounds. Appreciate the help there, guys, trying to get the camera sorted out here real quick. We'll try to figure that out. The wind right now is just ripping, so we will try to get that figured out for you on our YouTube stream. Apologies for that, folks. We'll try to get that sorted out. It's a little bit off kilter right now, so we will look to get that back up in just a second. We'll keep it up as it is for now. There's a little bit of a circle around it for some reason. We'll try to figure that out as soon as we can. And now we've got runner at first and Grayson Hunsley as I try to get my bearings back beneath me here. Lost my pen too in that wind. It's just been ripping so much today that it's been hard to keep in mind, or rather to keep track of everything. Just found my pen, picked it up. It was underneath. As the count's going to be 2-1 now. Get everything reset here for you folks listening in at home. That pitch is going to be high for ball number 3. Again, it is Trevor Rounds who ended up striking out. So this is Carter Shufflebine, who is currently at the plate. And he's going to send a ground ball just over the bag. Almost was a fair ball, but instead it's going to be just wide. The count is 3-2. And we will try to resolve what's going on with the camera right now. For those of you watching in on the YouTube stream, apologies for that black circle around it. We'll try to get that sorted out during the inning break. May take an extended timeout just to make sure on that. Here's a liner into right that bounces off the glove of Zach Sprinkle, trying to make his way over to third as Hunsley, the ball skips all the way into the Post State dugout, and Hunsley's going to be able to come home. And we've got a 4-3 baseball game. What a game-changing swing from Carter Shufflebein, delivering into right field, getting all the way to second on that ball that ended up landing in the post-8 dugout. Grayson Hunsley able to come home and get his first run of the day, and Carter Shufflebein with the RBI swing. RBI single for Shufflebein. It is a 4-3 baseball game here in the top half of the 6th inning. What a turn of events, and now with 2 outs, post-8, who was in some trouble, not quite done yet, and looks like we'll see a meeting on the mound here once again as the wind has once again continued to make an impact. Apologies for that, folks. It just keeps wanting to take out our camera. This wind is really something, to say the least. I think we finally got that black circle sorted out, so that's good to see. But it's hard to describe just how bad this wind is right now. It's not the worst I've ever felt, but it's enough to where it'll knock down your appliances. And I have to do a little bit of on-site tech stuff, so if I sound a little discombobulated, that's what it's from. Hopefully we don't have to do that anymore. Lost my place in my scorebook for a second, so I'll try to get that situated for you. But again, Carter Shufflebein with the game-changing RBI single. This is Sutton Sunshine. He'll pop this ball up, chasing after it, and not able to do anything with it is Arbogast. Count is going to be at 0-1. Again, this is post-8 baseball on KCCR. We've reached 5:30 Central Time for those of you back in the capital city. Same goes for us here. Another foul ball by Sunshine. The wind that we had from earlier, like I keep talking about, it was just gust. Now it's sustained wind, and this is going to be interesting down the stretch, not just in this game, but in the next game as well, because how will these players deal with these conditions, and how much of an impact will that have? That remains to be seen, but it's going to be a crucial factor. Sunshine with this one fouled. He actually placed it up and over the head of Carter Shufflebein, who's since moved on to third base. So the count will stay at 0-2. And the baseballs are definitely being pushed left right now. Shufflebein 90 feet away from tying this game up. Sunshine has this pitch come in low, and it's in for a strike. Or no, my apologies, it's in for a ball. Count goes to 1-2. Almost looked like a strike call from the home plate umpire, but that was indeed a ball. The 1-2, that is a strike. A punch out on Sutton Sunshine, and a big one for Rylan Arbogast. Post 8 does put a run on the scoreboard, courtesy of a Carter Shufflebein RBI single. Sutton Sunshine taken out on the strikeout, and we've got a 4-3 baseball game heading to the bottom of the 6th. 3 outs away from winning is Renner, but Post 8 will do their best to hold them at bay. Back in 1 right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping wants to make it easy for you to get that lush green lawn and that yard haven that you've been dreaming of. Visit dakotasprinkler.com to make appointments for sprinkler system spring startup, service calls, fall winterization, and landscaping quotes. Trust Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping's professionals to get you through the planning and installation to make your landscaping needs a reality. Visit dakotasprinkler.com today.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Dylan Simmons on the call with you this afternoon as we've reached the bottom half of the 6th inning between the 8s and the Renner Royals. Post 8 is going to deliver our first new pitcher of the game as we've got a call to the bullpen. On the mound for Post 8 right now is going to be number 17. And you know who that means. That is going to be Porter Hunsley. So Hunsley who was working for Post State as a center fielder, now moves to the mound. So that'll lead to some different players in different spots. Trevor Rounds is now in center field. Terwilliger maintains his spot at first base. Grayson Hunsley is the man at third. Dawson Getz is still at short. At second is still Carter Shufflebein. Looks like, as far as I can tell, Ridge Limbach, at least for the moment, has, it appeared, moved into right field. So the count right now is 1-0. And there's a pitch by Hunsley that's a little outside. Counts 2-0. Hunsley, with minimal pitching experience, well, not minimal, but pretty good pitching experience this year. 12 2/3 innings pitched, tied for the second most on the team. 4 games played, 1 game started, including one versus Dickinson back on Friday. Has a 1-2 record on the season. And he's going to issue a leadoff walk here. So moving on to first on the leadoff walk for post 306, or 307 rather, will be Joe Neufeld. So he's able to get on with a leadoff walk that'll send on Sam Donahoe, as that pitch is going to be fouled. Count goes to 0-1 with a runner on first. As we try to navigate this wind right here. Again, sorry for the folks on the YouTube stream. It's making things a little bit unstable. Hopefully it's not too disorienting for you. We were accounting for the sunshine. What we weren't accounting for was the wind. And it makes it harder to do a broadcast like that, but it is all right. We're going to power through. Man at home plate is Sam Donahoe. Runner at first is Joe Neufeld. No outs here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Count is 1-0. Donahoe has struck out 2 times in this game. Hunsley, the southpaw, on the mound. Fires one in, and it's in for a strike. Counts 1-1. Second pitcher of the game for Pierre. Ridge Limbach's day on the mound appears to be over. Porter Hunsley usually works out of the bullpen. Here's a bunt laid down. Hunsley is going to scoop it up, throws on to first for an easy out 1. Nicely done by Cooper Terwilliger to hold on to it. Even better execution by Porter Hunsley, but the bunt does its job and advances the runner to second base. So now in scoring position is Joe Neufeld. Donahoe retired on a 1-3. Sends on Zach Sprinkle with 1 out. So Zach Sprinkle, as the wind calms down for just a second, making his way to the plate. Had a .250 average for O'Gorman this past year, .353 on-base percentage, 14 hits, 10 RBIs, 9 total runs. We've mentioned that a lot, but it's worth repeating. Renner 6-3 on the season in South Dakota play, 8-10 overall this year. Have played a lot of tournament games. Here's a fly ball into center, and right there to make the catch for Post State will be Porter, not Porter Hunsley, rather that'll be number 32, that is Trevor Rounds, able to make the catch. And that will be out number 2. Runners stay where they are at second base with Neufeld. So Sprinkle retired on the fly out to center. Jack Stuckel will be the next man up, who did get a single his last time up, but that was against Limbach. Fouls this one back, counts 0-1. The lead is a tenuous 1 for the Renner Royals right now. Trying to add some insurance because they know that they'll probably need it against Post State, who's been getting some leverage against Rylan Arbogast. We'll see if he comes back for the 7th inning. And there's strike 2. Big pitch by Hunsley. If he can recover to get a strikeout after his tough start to the frame, it would be massive for Post State. The 0-2 count, and time called momentarily by Jack Stuckel. How does Hunsley want to play this? Does he go back to the fastball, or does he have something else up his sleeve? Here's a fly ball that's fouled, keeping the count right where it is. Post State, what's at stake here? Trying to make it 5 of 6 in games 1, 8 of 11 overall. Trying to move to 8-6 on the season and get yet another crucial win in South Dakota play and do it on the road in enemy territory. Here's a liner that gets into right field for a base hit. This could score a run. Coming home and stopping now at third base. He got the stop sign from his third base coach, was Joe Neufeld. He will stay in the hot corner. It's going to be a single for Jack Stuckel. So a good job by Sutton Sunshine to make sure that ball didn't get past him. 2-out single for Jack Stuckel. Owen Lechtenberg will be the next man up. Look for a second. Like that might score a run for Renner, but it was not the case. That'll send on Lechtenberg, the number 2 man in the order, who grounded out on a bunt his last time up. Fouls this one back up and over the stands, counts 0-1. Can Post 8 do what they've got to do to tie this game up, and most importantly right now, keep themselves within striking distance of tying this up. This ball's popped up on the left side into foul ground, and trying to make the catch, but unable to do anything with it, is Ridge Leimbach, who has officially taken over in left field, we've now concluded. Finally got to look at that number 47. So Leimbach's now in left, the count's 0-2. So Sutton Sunshine is still in right field. Rounds is now in center, taking over for where Hunsley previously was. And now Porter with an 0-2 count, looking for a strikeout. And he's going to get exactly that. An inning-ending K for Porter Hunsley. Holds the runners at bay, and most importantly, keeps the score at 4-2-3. Post 8 is going to get one more chance in the top of the 7th to tie this thing up and maybe even take the lead. We'll find out if they can in 1 minute's time on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Larry Fry Heating and Cooling has a new name. Kruger Climate Systems has acquired Larry Fry Heating and Cooling, but it's still the same great service. Your friend Larry Fry is still a manager, and his dedication to providing you with outstanding service remains unwavering. The same quality products and services you have come to expect from Larry Fry Heating and Cooling will continue under the new leadership of Kruger Climate Systems. You can still reach us at 605-224-9548 or email us at ryan@krugercontracting.com. Kruger Climate Systems, your certified Trane and Mitsubishi dealer in Central South Dakota.
Step up to the plate with Kathy Sunshine Properties in Pierre, your go-to for buying, selling, and finding your perfect home. Whether you're looking for a cozy cottage or a spacious family home, Kathy Sunshine Properties has you covered. We're committed to helping you make your next big move, on the field or in your life. Ready to find your dream home? Call Kathy Sunshine Properties at 605-224-5588. Your home run in real estate.
Welcome back. This is Post 8 Baseball on KCCR. Enter Sandman blazing over the loudspeakers here at the Renner Baseball Field. 4-3 game, top of the 7th. Renner on top of Post 8. Pierre with 3 more outs to work with, trying to tie this game up and bring it to the bottom of the 7th. They've got 3, 4, 5 due up in the order. Dawson Getz, Charlie Simpson, and Cooper Terwilliger for now. That is assuming Post 8 does not want to use any pinch hitters in this situation. Dawson Getz has not had a hit thus far in this game, but he does have a walk that he's been issued. That, though, was by a previous pitcher. It's Brody Jacobson on the mound, and he immediately gives up a hit. Dawson Getz capitalizes on the new pitcher. The tying run is aboard for Pierre. Getz gets a single. So talk about an electric start for Dawson Getz, the senior. Brody Jacobson, as I just said, took over for Rylan Arbogast. And now Jacobson with an opportunity to close this thing out himself. However, Dawson Getz seeing to it that it's not going to be that easy. It'll send on Charlie Simpson, who's got 2 singles thus far in the game. Lays down a bunt here. Here's the throw to second, and they got Dawson Getz. So Simpson's bunt did not work the way he wanted. He put too much power on it. It went right back to Jacobson, and he was able to quickly get it onto the mound, and there it was Brody Jacobson, or rather the new shortstop, Rylan Arbogast, who took him out there. So I forgot about the defensive switch. Arbogast takes over, or Bjorkman rather takes over as the shortstop. Thought that was Arbogast initially, but either way, it's Simpson who's now out, or rather Getz who's now out. Simpson reaches on a fielder's choice, 1 away here in the top of the 7th. You get the point. Post 8 does not have the tying run at second base now. So Terwilliger is now at the plate with one out, and he's going to have to do his best to get something going here. Pops this one up, foul. Count is 0-1. So the tying run is on base for Post 8, but it's a little bit harder now with just 2 outs to work with. Jacobson, of course, does have some experience pitching, plenty of it as a matter of fact. Not as much against Post 8 specifically, but he is ready for this moment and this opportunity. Terwilliger slaps this one foul, had to really slam into it to just get it to go anywhere because of that wind. It's going to make it really hard to get the kind of hit you want in these conditions as you're standing right in it at home plate. Count is 1-2 for Cooper Terwilliger. Trying to keep Post 8's hopes alive. Here's a ground ball right to short. Bjorkman gets it on to second, chance to turn an inning-ending double play, and they got it. And that will end the game. The Renner Royals win by a score of 4-3, and they ended on a double play from Cooper Terwilliger on a ground out. What a sensational comeback effort by Renner, who was in trouble for most of the game, had to overcome a 2-0 deficit in the first 2 innings. Ended up coming back to win 4-3, a great late game stretch, great pitching from Rylan Arbogast and Brody Jacobson. And for Post 8, a disappointing ending. Had a lot of opportunities, had some highlight plays, and even got the game to 1 run in the top half of the 7th, rather bottom half of the 6th, or top half of the 6th, I should say. But were unable to bring it back in their favor in the top of the 7th. And the final score, 4-3, Renner getting the victory over Post 8. And now Pierre has to go back to the drawing board as they await the start of game number 2. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout. When we come back, we'll have post-game coverage of game number 1 right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Don't touch that dial, folks.
AGE Corporation has been building South Dakota for over 60 years. For all your site work, construction, and crane needs, AGE is there for you. If you need a boat dock and dock lighting, AGE has what you need. Visit their website, agecorp.com, or give them a call at 223-2732. AGE Corporation, providing high-quality services without sacrificing safety. Visit agecorp.com or call 223-2732.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Welcome
Are you
back.
a farmer in the Highmore area? Do you need a trusted partner for your grain and agronomy needs? Look no further than AgTegra. AgTegra is built on a legacy of farmer-owned cooperatives, providing superior service and relentless innovation for generations. We're committed to your success and the safety of our employees and members. For your grain needs, call Chance Scott at 605-846-1099. And for all your agronomy needs, reach out to Cole Hamlin at 605-871-9572. AgTegra. Growing together for generations.
Hello, I'm Pastor Jeff Lathrop of Pierre First United Methodist Church, and I'd like to invite you to join us in person for worship on Sunday mornings at 8:30 a.m. or 11 a.m. You can also join us on Facebook Live or on KCCR 1240 a.m. or 98.9 FM for our Sunday morning broadcast at 11 a.m. Come worship with us at First United Methodist Church, where you will find open hearts, open minds, and open doors.
Welcome back. This is Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Your final score in Game 1, the Renner Royals winning by a score of 4-3 over your Post 8 baseball team. And we're going to tell you how they did it in just a second. The real telling stat from this game, Post 8 out-hit Renner 11-4 and still lost this thing. So you got to say this about Renner. When they got hits, they capitalized, scoring 2 runs in the bottom of the 3rd and then 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th. Pierce scored 1 run in the 1st, 2nd, and 6th innings, but it was not enough A big stat that also tells the story is 4 errors for Post 8 to just 2 for Post 307 in this game. Multi-hit games from Charlie Simpson and Cooper Terwilliger for Post 8 in this one, as well as Trevor Rounds. They combined for 6 hits total. Also hits for Porter Hunsley, Grayson Hunsley, Dawson Getz, Sutton Sunshine, and Carter Shufflebein. The only player not to get a hit, as a matter of fact, Ridge Lineback, and a bit of an uncharacteristic slower performance for him in game number 1 batting-wise. As far as RBIs go, Carter Shufflebein had one, as did Charlie Simpson in this game for Post 8. The men on the mound were Ridge Lineback and Porter Hunsley. Lineback went 5 innings with 3 walks and no earned runs given up, 10 strikeouts. Hunsley gave up no earned runs as well with 1 strikeout. So Post 8 did not give up a single earned run in this game to Post 307. All 4 of those runs, all of them unearned. Jack Stukel ends up with a hit in this game for Post 307. 2 hits and 2 runs from Brody Jacobson. Brogan Moffett I should say, gets an RBI and a hit. Patrick Barnett with 1 RBI in this game as well. The rest of Post 307 was no hit for this game. So it's pretty interesting to look at that stat and think that Post 8 ended up losing this game, but that is indeed what happened. And it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how many hits you get, it's when you get those hits and if you can score anybody. And today Post 307 was just able to do that more than Post 8. If you're really thinking about the frequency of hits and who, quote-unquote, dominated the game, it felt like it was in the control of Post 8 for most of the way, but Renner just found a way at the end. Rylan Arbogast definitely did his job on the mound, gave up 10 hits, but just 2 earned runs out of all that. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk given up. Brody Jacobson did the rest in the top half of the 7th. 1 inning pitched with no runs, no earned runs given up as well. No walks, no strikeouts, and just 1 hit allowed. So that's going to do it in game number 1 from the Renner baseball field. We will be back in T-minus 25 to 30 minutes for game number 2 between Post 8 and Renner right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. KCCR News with Zach Nelson coming up after the commercial break. Don't go anywhere, folks.